Today is Thursday, the 26th of June, and 2025, live streaming from Radha Kund here. And today is the Gundicha Marjanam, the beautiful pastime when Mahaprabhu himself chose, with all his associates, to cleanse the temple where Lord Jagannath is going to reside, which is a replica basically of Vrindavan. Gundicha is the wife of Indradumna Maharaj, who built the original temple to house Lord Jagannath. So today, or tomorrow rather, the Ratha Yatra will begin, and the Lord of the universe will travel down the Grand Trunk Road, and he may reach there tomorrow or may not. He may stop on the way. And when he reaches there, then he's taken into the beautiful, sparklingly clean temple. And we know that Mahaprabhu began this tradition. Originally, King Prataparudra and his servants would clean the temple. Not King himself, but his servants would clean. But then Mahaprabhu took over this beautiful seva of serving the Lord. And today, all of our topic is about service. We've come to a very beautiful part, the end of this chapter 6 in Caitanya Caritamrta about Advaita Acharya. And for the next 20-25 verses is only about service, very ecstatic verses. So we'll begin today. Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Thara Bhaktaya Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Anapita Chirim Chirat Kuruna Bhartino Kolo Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundarati Katambas Kripita Sadahridare Kandare Spuratu Vasachinadana Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahaja Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhuvaita Rupe, Katana Rupe, Swadalasa Rupe Yam Prabhajanta Manapetyam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Matayo Taravobinidustam Sarvabhutam Hidimanamanatoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Baradram Tato Mamanasti Katyena Kati Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Naivam Charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Adi-lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions and millions of times, unto our dear most Adi-lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And again, I'm offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of our dear most Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and to all our divine Rupanuga Guru Varga, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhavevacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, we've reached a very ecstatic part of our Caitanya Caritamrta. On Tuesday, we were discussing the aspect of Advaita Acharya being the principal limb of Mahaprabhu. And another limb is Nityananda is described. And Srivas are smaller limbs. But it's described that a limb is more intimate than a part. So Advaita Acharya is described as being a limb, most intimate, and Advaita Acharya is non-different to Mahavishnu. And we'll discuss further his identity will be revealed, but we've been through a very concentrated understanding that only spirit can come from spirit, not from matter. So this was an intense purport that we read, and very wonderful to read the intensity of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's conclusions and teachings. But now we've smoothed out into a very beautiful place, just describing service, devotional service. This, as we said on Tuesday, is considered the rahasya, is the secret, the mystical truth of this connection with the divine, is service. Service is the symptom of love. We know this, we've said so many times. If you love anyone in this world, you'll consider serving them somehow or other. Even serving your country, serving your animals, serving your children, serving your husband, serving so many. Any mood of affection and love has to be activated is in a mood of service. So this devotional service is a simple conception to appreciate. And as we appreciate more and more, then we understand that personality who deserves the highest service. Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar, not Lord Vishnu, not Narayan, not Sankarshan even, not Mul Sankarshan, Maha Sankarshan, Advaita Acharya, etc., but Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar, and ultimately the Brajadevis, the Gopis, the Ramanis of Vrindavan. This is who ultimately we're going to set our sights on. So there's a path, there's a clear path chalked out by the Acharyas, by the Goswamis, and Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj in particular, all emanating from the origin of that path, which is Sachinandan Gaura Hari. And Advaita Acharya is one of the principal supporters and infusers, infusing this philosophy, this understanding into the world in the form of Shuddha Bhakti. Advaita Acharya has not come to give Braja Bhakti. That's not his qualification. Neither Nityananda. But Nityananda will direct us towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Advaita Acharya will also direct us towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to take shelter of this very extremely unique gift of the Lord. And we've discussed the historical context many times, how it is only in the one day of Lord Brahma, 4,320,000,000 years, only one time is this Ragmarg opened to the world. This is a fact. We can historically look back through all the different yugas. In the 11th canto I've described, chapter 5, you can read there very clearly about Satya Yuga, the avatars, etc., Treta Yuga, Dwarpa Yuga. None of them was directing the focus of the sadhaks towards this intimate Madhurya Prem. It didn't exist. It was, of course it existed, but it wasn't opened out to the conditioned souls. It's only the mercy, the absolute mercy of Sachinandan Gaura Hari, who has opened this remarkable gift, this secret, this rahasya. And this rahasya lies in devotional service. Yata mahanti bhutani bhuteshu cha anishatu pravistyani apravistyani tata teshu na teshu aham. This is the third Chatushloki verse in the second canto, 36, I think it is, 9:36. And this is describing the secret. And the secret, I mean, it's very simple once we know the secret, it's devotional service. But real devotional service means you know the object that you're serving sufficiently that you can put your whole heart and full consciousness into bringing happiness and satisfaction to that object of devotion, exactly in the wake of the gopis praying for Krishna. This is our example, following the gopis praying. This was all unpacked and opened out in the 4th chapter. This 4th chapter is remarkable. But now we're coming into the great stalwart captains of Mahaprabhu's movement in the form of Advaita Acharya. We've already discussed Nityananda, but now we're discussing Advaita Acharya. So yesterday we reached the 42nd verse. So today we're starting from the 43rd verse of the 6th chapter, Adi-lila. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Se Abhimana Sukhe Apana Pasare Krishna Dasa. Oh, my glasses on. I didn't realize the text again a bit. Krishna Dasa Heo Jiva Upadesha Kare. He forgets himself in the joy of that conception and teaches all living entities, you are servants of Lord Chaitanya. You are servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is Advaita Acharya speaking. Advaita Acharya is none other than Mahavishnu himself. He's deserving of all types of service, but he himself wants to get the highest bliss by serving. And we understand also ultimately that Brajendrananda and Shyam Sundar, he wants to get the highest bliss by serving Sri Radhika and the gopis also. But we'll discuss this as we go through. Purport: the transcendental devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so ecstatic that even the Lord himself plays the part of a devotee. The Lord is very happy to take the role of a devotee to his devotees. He's very happy to serve his devotees. We read in Chaitanya Bhagavat how Mahaprabhu, when he met Ishwarapuri and returned from Gaya, he would approach the devotees and ask them, could he help them with their washing? Could he help them carry their bag? Could he help? So many just general services he wanted to perform for them. There is so much nectar in serving the devotees. Devotional service. There's the active mood of devotional activities, and there's the inner reverence and heartily devotion to offer sweet words and support to the devotees. It's our goal to nourish the devotees, to nourish each other. It's the most wonderful experience, billions and billions of times greater than merging into the Brahman or the impersonal conception of liberation, etc. He personally teaches the whole world how to render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's so remarkable. He's come as his own devotee. That's why wearing a peacock feather disturbs that mood. When you put a peacock feather on him, you're proclaiming that he's Krishna. But he hasn't come in that mood of being Krishna. He's come disguised in a covered form. But still, devotees don't understand sufficiently or have faith sufficiently. It's the faith to know that this is the identity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He comes as his own servant to taste the sweetness and speciality of the gopis' love for him, Sri Radha's love in particular. He takes that Radha Bhav. These are all sublime topics never before opened out, except when Mahaprabhu manifested through the teachings principally of Rupa Goswami and all the Goswamis and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We just had his disappearance day yesterday, and Gadadhar Pandit also. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the Gaura Shakti. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namine. Gaura Shakti. Swarupaya. He's the Swarup of Gaura Shakti. That was how he was able to accomplish immense, remarkable tasks. In Vrindavan, we should consider there were 6 Goswamis to reveal the holy Dham of Vrindavan. In Navadvip, there was one, the 7th Goswami, to reveal all the islands, the Yog Pit, the relationships between the islands, what they represented, etc. All the bhajans, all the translations of all the granthas, Jaiva Dhamma in particular, we've mentioned many times, all manifesting from this one Goswami, Saptam Goswami, the 7th Goswami. And we just had his glorious, glorious Tirobhan disappearance day yesterday. alongside, of course, Gadadhar Pandit. If you ever get a chance to go to Navadvip, you go to Swananda Sukata Kunj, one of the places there. There's two places, Surabhi Kunj and Swananda Sukata Kunj. And there you will see the beautiful divine deities of Gaur Gadadhar. It was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati who manifested these particular Gaur Gadadhar. The original Gaur Gadadhar deities are in Birnagar, which is the birthplace of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where Bhaktivinoda Thakur's son, Lalit Prasad, has his ashram. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur left this world, Lalit Prasad grabbed those original deities of Gaur Gadadhar, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati immediately made replicas, and there therefore are devotional worship in Swananda Sukata Kunj. So we see that mood, that golden line, we can say, that umbilical cord of connection, devotional service, through Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is the embodiment of Gaura Shakti, which means Gadadhar Pandit, the Shakti of Gaura, which is Radha Bhav. So Mahaprabhu is manifesting that Radha Bhav. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is catching the current to give those teachings. Text 44. Krishna dasa abhimane ye ananda sindhu koti brahma sukha nahe thare eka bindu. The conception of servitude to Sri Krishna generates such an ocean of joy in the soul that even the joy of oneness with the Absolute, if multiplied 10 million times, could not compare to a drop of it. It's the nature of the jiva to serve. Jivara Swarapoi Krishnera Nityadas. By nature, it's our constitution to serve. We all must have experienced at some time or other the joy and the bliss when we pick up a bucket and we begin to serve the devotees prasadam, for example, or we serve the devotees in the form of kirtan or pravachan, or in so many ways this mood of service. And we see exemplary examples in our line, like Srila Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Dvait Madhav Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Vaibhav Puri Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shira Maharaj. All of these luminaries, my divine Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, they all are unique personalities in their unique abilities to serve in their special ways. Each of them has a speciality, a Vaishishtya. For example, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, he came and taught all the devotees to honor and revere all the Tirabhavs and Abhirbhavs in the calendar, in the year, and there are so many that we should honor. It's an offense not to honor these personalities. So we always mention them at least and give reference to where we can read more about them. But he installed this idea, conception. My Gurudev, he gave definite indication towards Raganuga Bhakti, no holds barred, straight there, straight to Brajdam. He wasn't cutting any Mayavad jungles. He didn't consider that that was as important as establishing the seed of desire for Braja Prem. So this was his contribution. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he purified the Western worlds. He gave us Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He gave us the Hare Krishna mantra. He gave us the way of life of a devotee. He gave such immense gifts, all extraordinary, service to humanity, service to the conditioned soul, ultimately service to Sri Radhika. This is who they're ultimately serving, all of them. All are Guru Varga. They're all maidservants of Sri Radhika, every one, from Rupa Goswami down to our present Gurus. They are all maidservants, because that's the gift of Mahaprabhu. How can they explain the gift if they're not manjaris themselves? It wouldn't have the potency. So this generating a joy in the soul that even the joy of oneness with the Absolute, if multiplied 10 million times, could not compare to a drop of it. Muniye Caitanya Dasa Ara Nityananda Dasa Bhave Samanahe Anyatra Ananda. Translation. He says, Nityananda and I are servants of Lord Chaitanya. This is Advaita Acharya. Nowhere else is there such joy as that which is tasted in this emotion of servitude. Beautiful contemplation. It's the heartline, that golden heartline to complete success in our journey towards emancipating ourselves from this material world, which becomes very insignificant. The aspect I said the other day of liberation is a material consideration. Bhakti is beyond material. It has nothing to do with matter. Bhakti is completely in the spiritual realm. So how can the conditioned soul, fully immersed in the conception of being a material body, how can he possibly link with that spiritual atmosphere of pure joy and sweetness through the linking of this devotional service? Text 46. Parama prayasi lakshmi hridaye vasati teno dasya sukha mage koriya minati. The most beloved goddess of fortune resides on the chest of Sri Krishna, yet she too, earnestly praying, begs for the joy of service at his feet. Lakshmi Devi, begging for the joy of seva. Text 47. Dasya bhave anindita parisada gana vidhi bhave narad ara sukha sanatana. All the associates of Lord Krishna, such as Brahma, Shiva, Narad, Sukha, and Sanatana Kumar, are very pleased in the sentiment of servitude. Service saves. Text 48. Nityananda avadut sabate agala Chaitanyara dasa prema hoila bhagala. Sri Nityananda, the wandering mendicant, is the foremost of all the associates of Lord Chaitanya. He became mad in the ecstasy of service to Lord Chaitanya. We've unpacked the two Chatavyuhas manifesting from Nityananda Ram, from Mul Sankarshan, Mahasankarshan. We've discussed already. This is all Nityananda Prabhu's service to the Lord, representing the existence potency, that Sandhini Shakti, manifesting all the worlds. This is his seva, his service to Brajendra Nandan Shyam Sundar, all in a mood of service. Sri Radhika herself, every fiber of her body, every atom of her thoughts, her mind, is only concentratedly made of that desire to please Krishna, to serve Krishna in the most rasik manner, which is most pleasing to Krishna. She even manifests billions of other gopis to assist her to please Krishna. Text 49 and 50. Shrivasa Haridasa Ramadasa Gadadhar Murari Mukunda Chandra Shekhar Vakrishara Esaba Pandita Loka Parama Mahatva Chaitanyara Dasya Shabya Kariya Unmata. Shrivas, Haridas, Ramdas, Gadadhar, Murari, Mukunda, Chandrasekhar, and Vakrishwara are all glorious and all learned scholars, but the sentiment of servitude to Lord Chaitanya makes them mad in ecstasy. What's the point of being a learned scholar if you're dry, if you don't have that service attitude, that service mood? To hell with our scholastic abilities and studies, etc. We only want to serve, to please the Vaishnavas, Guru, and Hari. This is our exclusive desire, to bring service and happiness to these personalities. And if we can utilize our scholastic understandings of Tattva and Siddhartha, this is most inspiring for the Vaishnavan devotees. This is where we serve in complete brilliance, you can say. The purity of the Shastras can shine through. The purity of the Bhagavatam, of this Caitanya Caritamrta. If we become familiar with this, we have a real gift to offer to humanity. A lasting, eternal gift. Nothing could be greater than this. To actually please the devotees with pure devotional direction. What could be a greater gift? to the bewildered living entity.
E mata gayana che koriye atasa, loke upadesha hoye Caitanya radasa.
Translation: Thus they dance, sing, and laugh like madmen, and they instruct everyone just by loving servants of Lord Chaitanya. Just be loving servants of Lord Chaitanya. We remember at the very beginning, the first chapter of Jaivadama, when Sannyasi Thakur, he sees that Vaishnava dancing in a mood of devotional ecstasy, slipping, weeping, moods of ecstasy permeating from his body. This is the trigger that ignited the desire in the dry heart of a Brahmagyani Sannyasi Thakur to lead him to the Vaishnava community in Goldaram Dweep. This is in Jaivadama. This dancing in ecstasy. And we see in the early days when Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada sent his disciples on the street chanting and dancing in those very formative years, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, the devotees weren't encumbered with so many politics and things like this. They were just so enthusiastic for service to that divine person, Prabhupada. He had inspired, he had triggered that desire. Guru, he gives the Krishna Seva Vasana. What does Vasana mean? It means the desire for service. Vasana means desire. Krishna Seva, the desire for Krishna's service. That's what the Guru implants in the heart. That's the Bhakti Lata Bij. That's the creeper that comes out of the Bij, is the desire for service. Text 52.
Chaitanya Goshani more kare Guru Jana, Tataf pilak mora haya dasa abhimana.
Shri Advaitacharya thinks, Lord Chaitanya considers me his spiritual master, yet I feel myself to be only his servant. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most unhappy that Mahaprabhu is serving him with reverence and honor. And we will describe the trick he performs to achieve his end of being a full servant. He gets so beaten badly, physically, by Mahaprabhu. Sachimata comes running out. Not Sachimata, Sita Thakurani, the wife of Advaitacharya, telling Mahaprabhu not to beat her husband so far. And Advaitacharya becomes in ecstasy. He's totally in ecstasy to be beaten. Finally, he's achieved his end of being a full servant of Mahaprabhu. Text 53.
Krishna prema eka uparu apurva prabhava guru sama laguke koriye tasya bhav.
Translation: Love for Krishna has this one unique effect. It imbues superiors, equals, and inferiors with the spirit of service to Krishna. One who serves doesn't see others as particularly senior or junior. He just has the taste of service, the ecstasy of service. Purport. There are two kinds of devotional service: the way of Panchatriki, regulative principles, and the way of Bhagavat, transcendental loving service. Two ways: rules and regulations, ritualistic worship, puja, very ostentatious perhaps, and the Bhagavat, the transcendental loving sentiments. One is principally like Aishwarya, one is like Raganuga. The love of Godhead of those engaged in Panchatrika, Atrika, regulative principles, depends more or less on the opulent and reverential platform. But the worship of Radha and Krishna is purely on the platform of transcendental love. This is why Baladev Vidyabhushan had to be called to Jaipur. The smarter Brahmins were worshipping Govinda in a mood of this Panchatrika, these rules and regulations. They were smarters or Ramanujas at that time. And they wouldn't accept Radha because that's on the Rag platform. But Baladev Vidyabhushan came, and we said the other day, gave us this Govinda Bhasya, which is describing the mood of pure devotional service, Braja Prem, without the rules and regulations. Actually, Madhvacharya also propagated this mood without rules and regulations. He said that feelings, he talks about feelings, are more potent than the ritualistic activities. But if the feelings aren't influenced by the proper etiquette, then they become sahajya. They become distorted and Krishna can't accept them. So we have to be very cautious of this subtle distinction here. We'll discuss more. Even persons who play as the superiors of Krishna also take the chance to offer transcendental loving service to the Lord. The service attitude of the devotees who play the parts of superiors of the Lord is very difficult to understand, but it can be very plainly understood in connection with the super excellence of their particular service to Lord Krishna. It's going to unpack this. A vivid example is the service of Mother Yashoda to Krishna, which is distinct. In the feature of Narayan, the Lord can accept service only from his associates who play parts in which they are equal or less than him. Who is the mother of Lord Narayan? Who is his mother and father? He doesn't have a mother and father. So where can this Vatsalya mood be there in the Vaikuntha realm? It's not there. This is all the world of Aishwarya. We're going beyond Aishwarya, beyond Vaikuntha, to the realm that Mahaprabhu is opening the door for, into Vrindavan. But in the feature of Lord Krishna, he accepts service very plainly from his fathers, teachers, and elders who are his superiors, as well as from his equals and his subordinates. This is very wonderful. Krishna will accept all these services. Even from Nanda Baba, he will accept service. Nanda Baba will serve Krishna in different ways. He serves him as a father in most beautiful ways. And the cowherd boys, they also serve Krishna, and Krishna reciprocates with them and serves them also. He's always immersed in a mood of service, because service is that divine bliss, that connection. I said this, like golden thread. The connection of pure love is couched within the activities of service, always service. And the gopis are the highest example of this. Text 54. Ihara pramana suna shastrere vikyana mahad anubhavayate sudrita pramana. For evidence, please listen to the examples described in the revealed scriptures, which are corroborated by the realization of great souls. Now, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is going to give us a great gift of his erudition in describing all these different personalities who render service directly to the Lord. Text 55 and 56. Anyere kakata praje nanda mahashaya tada samagura krishnara arakahinai shuddha vatsalya ishvara dhyane nahitara tahikai prema karya dasa anukara. Translation. Although no one is a more respected elder for Krishna than Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan, who in transcendental paternal love has no knowledge that his son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the Lord, when he's manifesting in Vrindavan, Yogamaya, she covers that idea of the Lord's supremacy. And the Lord himself doesn't know that he's God. He's described as being Mugdata. That means he doesn't know he's God. As well as he's Sarvagyan, knowing everything. He knows both simultaneously. How could he be bound by Mother Yashoda if he knew he was God? It'd be impossible. So we should think about these things. Text 57. Tenorati mati vange krishnare charane taharasri mukavane tahate pramane. He too prays for attachment and devotion to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. This is the father of Lord Krishna, as the words from his own mouth give evidence. Krishnadas Kaviraj is going to quote from its chapter 46, when Uddhav first goes to, as a messenger sent by Krishna, and he's glorifying Krishna as being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nanda Baba doesn't see him like that for a moment, but still for a second he entertains that conception. If he is the personality of Godhead, but he's still my son. This will be explained. Text 58 and 59.
Suna udve satya Krishna amara tanaye teno ishvara hena yadi tomara man ilaya tatapi tanhate rahu mora manovriti tomara ishvara Krishna hoike mora mati.
My dear Uddhav, please hear me. In truth, Krishna is my son, but even if you think that he is God, I would still bear towards him my own feelings for my son. Even if Uddhav wants to think that Krishna is God, still in Nanda Baba's heart, this Vatsalya Prem is so thick that it can never be displaced with any sort of Aishwarya. May my mind be attached to your Lord Krishna. So he's offering, can my mind be attached to the Lord Krishna that you're presenting, Uddhav? Text 60.
Manaso vrityo nahi na syur Krishna padam bujashraya vacho vidya niri namna kayastat pravanadishu.
Translation, may our minds be attached to the lotus feet of your Lord Krishna, Uddhav's Lord Krishna. Nanda Baba is saying, may our tongues chant his holy names, and may our bodies lie prostrate before him. Text 61.
Karma bi brahmananam karamam bi brahman yamanam yatra kvapishvare chaya mangala charitye tanai ratrina Krishna ishvare.
Wherever we wander in the material universe under the influence of karma, by the will of the Lord, may our auspicious activities cause our attraction to Lord Krishna to increase. The nature of devotional service, it has to be dynamic. It has to be ecstatic. It has to be increasing. If you perform 20 years ago some sort of devotional activity and think, yes, I'll just comfortably live out my life now, that's absurd. That wasn't real devotional service. Performing devotional service is so addictive, you grab it, you capture it. It's like chanting. When you get a taste for the chanting, you can't stop. You're always chanting, you're always finding some place to chant. Service to Guru in particular rewards the highest reciprocal ecstasy of bliss. Why would you ever want to stop that? And not only stop, but increase. It's like love itself has to be increasing to be real love. It's dynamic, it's not static. We've said many times this point. These verses from Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 47, 66, 67 were spoken by the denizens of Vrindavan, headed by Maharaj Nanda and his associates to Uddhav, who had come from Mathura. So Uddhav comes in the 46th chapter, spends the night with Nanda, and then the 47th chapter is about the Brahmara Geet. This is when Uddhav witnesses the extraordinary behavior in separation of Sri Radhika, the highest devotee in existence, Aradhanam. Aradhana means she has the highest devotion, worships Krishna with the highest devotion, Sri Radhika. She's Krishna's very energetic form. His Swarup, Krishna is Rup, his form. His energy, his Swarup is Sri Radha. So we take our cue from her and from her gopis, and from those who worship her gopis, our Guru Varga, who are all Manjaris. They're all worshipping Sri Radhika. So they are who we're following. Gopi Bharatu Kamalayo Das Dasanu Das. Text 62.
Shridamadi brajayata sakara nischaya aishvara gyana hina kevala sakya maya.
Translation. Lord Krishna's friends in Vrindavan headed by Sridham, have pure fraternal affection for Lord Krishna and have no idea of his opulences. But understand one thing we've said many times, that the opulence of Vrindavan is far greater than the opulence of Vaikuntha. For example, I've said many times this example, I'll say it again. If you, in the opulence of Vrindavan, if you consider opulence to be like salt, and you put salt in a glass of water, a spoonful of salt in a big glass of water, you mix it up, it's very salty. That water indicates sweetness or affection, but the salt takes over that, the Aishwarya. The Aishwarya in Vaikuntha is completely prominent, even though it's just a spoonful. But the Aishwarya in Vrindavan is like a sack of salt, 20 kilos of salt, so much more opulence, but it's submerged in such a greater ocean of like the Ganges River. You throw a 20 kg sack of salt in the Ganges, and you don't taste any salt. It doesn't make any difference because there's so much madhurya and sweetness to cover it. So this is an example that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives of the salt. It's like Aishwarya, but it's covered in Vrindavan. So actually, ultimately, there's far more opulence in Vrindavan, but there's so much more sweetness to cover it that you don't even know it's there. My Gurudev used to describe that it's like if you're boiling 200 liters of milk, and occasionally a whisper of grass comes to the surface of the milk boiling, but then it's immediately submerged again. So that is how the opulence occasionally arises in the hearts of the Brijbasis. But there's so much milk, it just immediately becomes submerged again. So we know after the lifting of Govardhan Hill, the older Gopas, they all approached Nanda Baba. They said, "We think your son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan. How can a young boy lift a mountain like this for 7 days?" Nanda Baba, he laughs and laughs and laughs. He says, "You Gopas, you don't lose your milk teeth, your baby teeth, until you're 80 years old. In other words, you're so foolish. How can my son be God? He steals milk. He does so many naughty things. He lies, he cheats. He does so many naughty things. How can this be God?" And after a few moments of thought, all the gopis, they agree. And immediately Yogamaya covers them all, and that blade of grass gets covered by the milk boiling. And that opulent thought that arose that Krishna might be the Supreme Lord immediately gets submerged. Why? Because Krishna relishes these madhurya pastimes. This is his ecstasy, when he's not approached as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. An important man loves to be with people who don't think he's important. Then he can feel comfortable and relaxed. It's like a high court judge. In the court, everyone stands. The high court judge has life and death in his hands. Everyone reveres him and honors him. He has a long white wig and a robe, etc. But when he's home with his grandson, rolling around on the carpet, the grandson's riding on his back like a horse. So he's in much more happiness in that condition than he was in the court with the Aishwarya. We have to really get this Aishwarya, Madhurya down and understand. Then we can enter the conceptions of Vrindavan much more easily, because there's no Aishwarya, or as I've said before, there's much more Aishwarya, but it never practically raises itself. It's always covered by such an immense ocean of sweetness. This is Braj. It's very, very different. Were spoken by the denizens of Vrindavan, headed by Maharaj Nanda and his associates to Uddhav, who had come from Mathura. Text 62. Oh, I read that. I read 62, yeah. So, text 63. Krishna Sange Yuda Kore Skande Arohana Taha Dasya Bhave Kare Charana Sevana. Although they fight with him and climb on his shoulders, they worship his lotus feet in a spirit of servitude. That's covered exactly as I've just described. They have so much mood of love and reverential mood, but it's covered by such an immense amount of sweetness and spontaneous attraction, so they can please Krishna so well. Text 64. Pasangvadhananam chakru kechchitasya samatmanaha apare hata papmano rajanai samavrijayan. Translation. Some of the friends of Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, massage his feet, and others whose sinful reactions had been destroyed fanned him with handheld fans. These are his friends, his cowherd boyfriends. Purport. This verse, quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:15-17, describes how Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram were playing with the cowherd boys after killing Denakasura in Talavan. Text 65 and 66. Krishnara prayasi prajayata gopikana yanra pada tulikara udav pratana yan sabara upara Krishnara priya nahi ana tanhara apanaka karitasi abhimana. Translation. Even the beloved girlfriends of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan, the gopis, the dust of whose feet are desired by Sri Uddhav, and who are more dear to Krishna than anyone else, regard themselves as Krishna's maidservants. That mood of service obviously is going to conjure humility in the heart. And we've said so many times that humility is synonymous with what? Prem. Humility and prem. The amount of prem and bliss we are experiencing in our seva is going to increase this humility. And this state of prem is the complete antithesis, opposite of pratishta. Pratishta in this world is what the conditioned souls are always seeking, to put themselves as center stage, to have themselves worshipped and glorified. The antithesis of that, the opposite of that, is prem. So we can appreciate that in connection with the material conditioned souls. Text 67. Raja janartihan virayositam nija janasmaya dvamsana smita bhaje sake bhavet kinkari smano. This is the Bhagavatam verse. I should be doing the Bhagavatam meter. Braja janatihan virayositam nija janasmaya dvamsana smita bhaje sake bhavet kinkari smano jala ruhananam charu dasaya. O Lord, remover of the afflictions of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, O hero of all women, O Lord, who destroy the pride of your devotees by your sweet, gentle smile. How beautiful. O friend, we are your maidservants. Please fulfill our desires and show us your attractive lotus face. Oh, so I didn't get the meter right at all. This is the Gopi Gita. Braja janartihan virayositam nija janasmaya dvamsana smita bhaje sake bhavat kinkari smano jalaruhananam charudashaya. Again, I didn't recognize it. This verse, in connection with the rasa dance of Krishna with the gopis, is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-6, when Krishna disappeared from his companions in the course of dancing. The gopis sang like this in separation from Krishna. This is the most divine chapter, this Gopi Gita. So now we have a verse from, this is from Brahmara Gita. Text 38. Adibata madhu puryam arya putro dunaste smarati sa pitra gehan somya bandhums cha kopan kwaschid api sa katamna kinaram brinate burjam aguru sugandam mudyena adyasyat kadanu Translation. O Uddhav, it is indeed regrettable that Krishna resides in Mathura. Does he remember his father's household affairs and his friends, the cowherd boys? O great soul, does he ever talk about us, his maidservants? When will he lay on our heads his aguru-scented hand? This is when Uddhav comes in front of the gopis after he's spent the night with Nanda Baba. Yashoda Ma, she hasn't been able to speak anything. She's sitting dumb like a stone. But Nanda Baba has still got his faculties about him, and he's able to offer service to Uddhav. And they've spent the night talking. And now in the morning, Uddhav, he's gone down to bathe in Krishna Kund, is described. And when he's finished his bathing, he looks up and he sees the forest of Uddhav Kyari. It's a huge forest. And he sees deep within that forest an illumination. And that illumination are the gopis who haven't moved from there since Akrura took Krishna to Mathura. And Uddhav, he realizes this is the gopis. These I have the message for from my master, Krishna. Uddhav, of course, is completely, always, he's a Jnani Bhakta. He's in the mood of Aishwarya. This is the huge contrast of Uddhav visiting Vrindavan. Uddhav carries that mood that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's trying to tell Nanda Baba this. Nanda Baba just thinks, who is this person thinking like that? So now he's come in the company of the gopis, and he's speaking with the gopis, but he's very, very reverential to them. Uddhav, the name Uddhav means festival of joy. That's what the name Uddhav means. He's a joy for festival for the Dwarkavasis, for the Mathuravasis. Krishna sends him deliberately so that he will come back with the understanding of just how glorious is the gopis' prem for him. And he'll reveal this prem to the inhabitants of Dwarka. He wants them to know how much the Brijabasis love him. They won't be able to understand it, just like Queen Kunti couldn't understand how Mother Yashoda was able to bind Krishna. Always in their mind, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who is Krishna in our mind? He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the Master. Until Guru gives his kripa sufficiently for us to develop a sambandha relationship with Guru, who will reveal to us our real transcendental entity in the Vrindavan Lila of service to Krishna. This Swarup Siddhi will be revealed by Sri Guru in the heart. That Sadguru, that Siddha Guru, who already has awakened his original relationship in Vrindavan with the Supreme Lord. But if we're hearing about these topics, and if we have an eagerness, because it's that rag, that eagerness, that lobha, it's the eagerness that is the factor to take us forward into that divine realm of Vrindavan, into the kingdom of Vrindavan. And that eagerness for what? For service initially. And this is our topic. So Uddhav, he's gone to serve the lotus feet. Is it Asamaho Charana Renu? Is another verse. I can't think of the verses. Nanda Rajakshanam. Just a second. I want to get one verse. Ainanda. Just a second. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram. No. Yes. 228. Just a second. 228. I know these verses, but I can't always remember them at the time. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Bam Vishvam Bhavambado Kripaya Tava Padapankaja Stiti Duli Sadarisham Vichintaya. Oh, so this is Mahaprabhu. I meant another verse actually. I'll find it and post it. There's another beautiful verse describing Uddhav's feelings to, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't catch it. Okay, I'll come back to it. Page 328, no. 328, let me see if it's the one she's saying. 328, it might be. 328. Asamaho, yes, that's that verse. No, Vande Nanda Brajashinam Padarenum Abhikshanaha Yasham Harikatot Gitam Bhunati Bhuvana Trayam. This is the verse I was thinking. This translates, Uddhava said, I bow down to the dust of the feet of the gopis who reside in Nanda Baba's Braj. This is the verse, I'll say it again. I bow down to the dust of the feet of the gopis who reside in Nanda Baba's Braj. Oh, whatever these gopis have sung about Krishna's pastimes always has and always will purify the entire world. This is Uddhav's impression after meeting with the gopis. Vande Nanda Brajashinam Padarenum Abhikshanaha Yasham Harikatot Gitam Punati Bhuvanat-trayam. This is the beautiful verse. This is on page 329. If Rasamanji would like to put that verse up on our thread. So this idea of Uddhav worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the gopis. And by that experience, we'll take it back, and he in turn will serve the Dwarkavasis and the Mathuravasis by telling them of the excellence of the love of the Brajavasis, and particularly of the gopis. Text 69 and 70. Tan sabare katarahu Srimati Radhika Sabahoite Sakalam se Parama Adhika Tanho Yanra Dasi Hana Sevana Charana Yanra Prema Guna Krishna Bada Anukshana. Translation. What to speak of the other gopis, even Radhika, who is in every respect the most elevated of them all. Elevated of them all, and who has bound Sri Krishna forever by her loving attributes, serves his feet as his maidservant. So even Sri Radhika. But then we find also that Krishna himself is hungry for that savor. This is why he advents as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as the servant. The whole purpose of what we're describing is about Advaita Acharya. He is Mahavishnu, and he wants to be the servant. All wants to be the servant. All these exalted personalities we're describing, they all want a mood of savor, service. All of them. This is very inspiring part. Now we come to a beautiful verse. Text 71.
E nataramana preshta kvasi kvasi mahabhuja dasyastre kripaya me sake darshaya sanidim. E nataramana preshta kvasi kvasi mahabhuja dasyaste kripanaya me sake darshaya sanidim.
We'll describe this. O my Lord, O my husband, O most dearly beloved, O mighty armed Lord, where are you? Where are you? O my friend, reveal yourself to your maidservant, who is very much aggrieved by your absence. This is Srimati Radhika herself chanting this verse. Purport. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:30-39. When the rasa dance was going on in full swing, Krishna left all the gopis and took only Srimati Radharani with him. At that time, all the gopis lamented, and Srimati Radharani, being proud of her position, requested Krishna to carry her wherever he liked. Then Krishna immediately disappeared from the scene, and Srimati Radharani began to lament. So perhaps you're all familiar with this verse and this pastime, but I'm going to explain it anyway, because it's a very ecstatic point. Actually, this particular verse is the verse that Madhavendra Puri was meditating on when he wrote a parallel verse, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram. I keep saying that verse all the time. Aidina Deyadinatha He Mathuranath Kalavayotate. What's the rest of the verse? Adi-lila 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 Mathura Hridayam Hridayam. Anyway, this is the verse. Excuse me, I was just trying to capture these verses. Aidina Dayadrina Tahe Mathuranath Balakaryotayate Hridayam Tvadaloka Kataram Daita Ramyate Kim Karam Yaham. This is the verse that Madhavendra Puri is chanting when he's leaving his body. And this verse is also simultaneously saying the same mood of separation. Srimati Radhika had left the Ras Leela because she was the only one who noticed that Krishna was manifesting himself as the partners for all the millions of gopis who were dancing. He didn't expand himself. He was going so quickly that it was just the one Krishna, and he was manifesting himself with all the gopis practically simultaneously. And it's described to understand this fact, because if we consider that he expanded himself during the Ras Leela to dance with all the different gopis, actually Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says there are 300 billion gopis. So it's an unlimited number of gopis. Just take it at that. Unlimited number of gopis. And it's like if you have a glowing rope, a rope that has been lit on the end, it's glowing, and you spin it around very quickly. It'll look like a single circle of light, but it only has one end. But it's going so fast, it looks like a circle. So Krishna was like that. He was manifesting with all the gopis, and then he was coming back to the center, to Radhika. But then Radhika, because of her potency, could see what Krishna was doing, and realized also that the gopis themselves were feeling this great mood of pride. Saubhagya was coming in their hearts. This pride was coming in the hearts of all the gopis, not of Radhika. It was coming in the gopis' hearts, her manifestations, her kaya vyuha. That pride was coming in there. We have attained Krishna as our lover. Krishna is wiping the perspiration from our foreheads. He's tying our ankle bells. He's dancing with us, cheek to cheek. He's even giving his tambul from his lips into the lips of the gopis. So close proximity. The gopis are in their highest peak of ecstasy, and they're feeling we have attained the very supreme bliss and ecstasy, and a pride came with that. And Radhika could perceive that pride and knew that to actually have complete consummation of this Ras Leela for Krishna's pleasure, that pride had to be purified. So she left the Ras Leela dance, knowing that Krishna would immediately have to leave. As soon as Radhika leaves, then Krishna immediately understands the Ras Leela has no satisfaction without Sri Radhika. Then Krishna leaves the Ras Leela. And it's described that Krishna walks like an elephant against the tide and current of all the other gopis praying. Only an elephant can walk upstream. So Krishna is walking upstream against all the calling, the heart, the anurag, the mahabhav of all the other gopis. He leaves them. And then the gopis get so distressed, and they sing the Gopi Geet, etc. But then meanwhile, Krishna is walking with Sri Radhika. And at one point, Sri Radhika starts to remember her Sakhis, her gopi friends, and knows that they will be lamenting extremely because Krishna has left their company and she is with Krishna. She knows that they're going to be lamenting. Actually, it's described they become like a bunch of mad women. They're roaming in the forest, desperately looking for Krishna. And Sri Radhika is feeling that pain of the Sakhi's separation from Krishna. And Krishna can empathically hear what Radhika is thinking. All of a sudden, after perhaps 40, 50 minutes, Radhika is feeling some pain of separation from her Sakhis, even though she's with Krishna. And she knows their pain of not being with Krishna. So Krishna, he also understands what Radhika is feeling, that she wants to be with her Sakis as well, to enjoy fully with Krishna. So at this time, Krishna is thinking, if the Sakis all find me with Radhika exclusively, they're going to become very envious of Sri Radhika. I have to leave her. Otherwise, they'll find us together and then condemn Radhika for taking me away. This is what will happen. It's a fact. That Rishya, it's called, that transcendental envy will come out. So actually they can hear the gopis coming closer. So then Krishna says to Radhika, do you want to keep walking or do you want to come to a flower bed? Are you too tired? And then Radhika says, yes, I'm tired. And then Krishna says, please sit on my shoulder. And when she goes, why does he say like that? Because previously, Krishna has been in the submissive mood to Radhika. Radhika's man, or pique, or huff, had to be pacified when she left the Rasa Leela. When Radhika saw that Krishna was consorting with all the other gopis in a similar way to what he was doing with her, she became somewhat manini. She became somewhat disturbed. So Krishna had to pacify that. Then they go to the beautiful place of Sringaravat, and Krishna decorates her and pacifies her man at that time. And then they're walking, and then they hear the Sakis coming. Krishna knows that Radhika wants the Sakis to catch them up. So he plays this trick, and he asks her, does she want to come to a flower bed? And Radhika says, I don't mind, I'll go either way. All of a sudden, Radhika is no longer that Swadhina Bhartika who has controlled her lover. She's no longer in that position. The lover was taking the submissive role. Radhika was taking the controlling role. Now all of a sudden that controlling mood has come to be equal to the submissive mood. So now actually there's no rasa. Krishna's already in the submissive mood. Now suddenly Radhika is demonstrating that submissive mood. Oh, I don't mind where we go. You can take me to a flower bed or you can keep on walking. Whatever is your heart's desire. So in other words, Radhika is not controlling the situation anymore. So there's no, the strength of the ras has subsided. Because when one is submissive and the other is the controller, there's a great amount of rasa exchanged. But when they both become the same, it's like the waves in the Staibhav, they become more flattened. But Krishna also knows the gopis are coming, so he says, sit on my shoulder. So she goes to sit on his shoulder. She's been in complete, the highest bliss, being with Krishna alone. In her mood, the highest heroine. There are 8 types of heroine. There's, we can go through them. Abhisarika, Vasika Sahja, Utkantika, Karana, Kala, Hantarika, Swadhina Bhartika, Prosita Bhartika, Vipralamda. There are 8 different types of heroines. And she was in Swadhina Bhartika. This is the highest heroine, when the heroine has controlled her lover. He's ready to do anything that she asks him to. So now she's come out of that place. She's come to Dakshin Bhav, which is a submissive mood. And Krishna says, sit on my shoulder, and then he disappears. Then the height of her separation, which mirrors the height of her meeting with Krishna. This is the point I'm making. That meeting, that sambhog that Radhika was having with Krishna alone, just after the Ras Leela had been performed, was at its highest Madanakya Mahabhav, the highest pitch of all the blazing Sattvika Bhavs were being manifested in the body of Sri Radhika. So therefore, when Krishna suddenly disappears, the contrast of separation has to be extreme also. And this is this verse. He nata ramana prishta, kwasi mahapuja, dasyaste kripanayame, saki darsaya sanidim. O my Lord, O my husband, O my dearly beloved, O mighty armed Lord, where are you? Where are you? O my friend, reveal yourself to your maidservant, who is so much aggrieved by your absence. She's suffering in so much demented separation mood. completely this Mohan Akya Mahabhav, where the contrast to the modern Akya Mahabhav, the Sattvika Bhavs are blazing. And then, of course, the Sakis, they have tracked her footprints. And they come to her, they find her, and then they're completely pacified because Krishna's not there. It's just Radhika. And they see, all of them, the height of her separation mood. And they were thinking themselves to be experiencing the very, very extreme height of separation, searching for Krishna for 40, 50 minutes, practically an hour, searching for Krishna through the forest, asking all the trees, the flowers, the bushes, the deer, everybody. They were asking, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? They were even imitating Krishna. They were like demented women in this Divyan Mad condition. But when they meet Radhika, they see her separation is 1 billion times more than theirs. Then they realize Radhika is the queen. Radhika is the Ishtadev. She is the principal lover of Sri Krishna. And that's what Krishna wanted to achieve. And Radhika also wanted to achieve that, because then the Rasa Leela would be successful. Without that full acknowledgement of Radhika's position, the whole Rasa Leela could not have been completely successful for Krishna's satisfaction. So this is the pastime, this is this verse. And it's all around service. Everything that I've just described is all a mood of service. And this service mood is the mood that Advaita Acharya feels cheated of by being treated like a superior by Mahaprabhu. So tomorrow we'll discuss this more, but this is a very ecstatic part of the Caitanya Caritamrta, describing this devotional service and the moods of devotional service, and where it can carry the heart and the current of the devotee to experience the highest connection in bliss. The devotees are not looking for bliss, they're looking for service. And the bliss happens to come along with the service. But their intention is to do the service. It's the service that we want. It's like Daruka was serving Krishna, but these ecstatic symptoms were coming to his body. He was trying to fan Krishna, but these ecstatic symptoms were coming, and he was condemning them because they were obstructing his service. He wants the service more than the ecstatic symptoms. So we should bear this in mind also. So many truths here, deep truths we have to consider. Okay, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai, Advaita Acharya Prabhu Ki Jai. These are all coming out in the chapter of Advaita Acharya, most ecstatic personality. Caitanya Caritamrta Ki Jai, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai, Ananta Gota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Vanshakapatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyacha, Patitanam Parnivyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. I think tomorrow is Rath Yatra, and also the disappearance day of Swarup Damodar. So it's a very special day tomorrow. We're coming into the very special season. So not far away is Sanatana Goswami's Tirubhav, the Purnima that's coming up. So many intense devotional festivals are happening just now. So Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Sachinandan Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Vanshakapatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyacha, Patitanam Pavnibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha.